Hey, I'm Georgia Lyons, and this is Industry Intros. And today on the show, I am super privileged to have the absolutely amazing Teresa Patterson, who is the current head of NZ On Air Music. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
It is so lovely to have you. You're amazing.
Thank you.
I love what you do. I love, obviously, NZ On Air. You guys make it possible for me and so many artists to be able to do what we do. Can you tell me, for those people that maybe have no idea who NZ On Air is, what NZ On Air is, and what you do?
So we're a government-funded agency in the music division. Interesting enough, we're actually called the Broadcaster Commission. That is our official name. A lot of people don't realise that.
I didn't know that.
So our mandate is for New Zealanders to hear quality music, to hear and discover quality music. And so we enable that by funding artists to be able to professionally record and release their music.
And the more, I've talked about this on another episode recently, the more I meet other people outside of New Zealand and talk about, this is how I've been able to do what I do, they're gobsmacked.
Absolutely
I can't believe
gobsmacked.
that this is how we are supported with our government and, having agencies like NZ On Air. So grateful for you guys. Obviously, right now, you're in this role. There's been a lot that's happened previous to that. What was your very first job in the industry?
So I've been in the industry now nearly 30 years.
Amazing.
And actually my very first job was selling advertising for My FM. And then my next job, so I did that for 6 months because then a job came up at a record company called Polygram, which is now Universal. And I sold CDs into stores.
And at what stage did you realise, this is the industry that I want to be a part of?
Always. I've always really been into music. I learnt guitar when I was from the age of 6.
Cute.
And I grew up out in West Auckland, and there was a record store in the mall that I always go into and order vinyl from the UK, and I would get the NME. And, so I've always really been into music. I sang backing vocals in a band in my late teens. So I've sort of always, been involved in music somehow. And, so I was just really happy and lucky to have got a job working in the music industry.
The first time I'd ever actually heard of you, you were managing friends of mine, Ryan and Ats, for Please Please.
Oh, Ryan and Ats.
I love them so much.
Such great guys.
Dear friends of mine, great human beings. So that was where I first heard of you. Management was the space that you were in for a little while.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so I worked at major labels for 10 years, 5 years at Polygram, and then 5 years as head of Virgin Records. And then I went freelance, and I was doing freelance PR. And then I just kind of fell into management, actually through being a mentor on an NZ On Air funded program for RockQuest. And the winners that year were this rock and roll band from Wanganui called The Have. And I just loved the guys so much that at the end of it, I was like, shall I manage you? And they were like, yes. So I kind of fell into it that way. And then I was a manager for 15 years.
Cool.
And managed a range of artists from The Have right through to Scribe and Julia Deans, Eva Lampkin, Blind Spot, Sit 60. So yeah, real wide range of artists.
There are quite a few artists that are self-managed. What would be some advice that you could pass on to some of those self-managed artists?
I think first things first is it comes down to focus on your music. 100% create the best art that you can, so collaborate. Write with other people, do what you can do to really find, your sound, be true and authentic to yourself. I would absolutely take advantage of everything that's out there to learn about the industry. There are so many resources out there. Join the Music Managers Forum, join the IMNZ. They both run a lot of seminars and upskilling sessions, and, the MMF has mentoring. So if you don't have a manager, you've got access to managers who can advise you on how to release a single or how to put together a tour. Apply for the song hubs that APRA has. Go to all of the things that the Music Commission does. Just get out there and also just meet other people in the industry. You may have found this as you were, beginning to come up, but people like to, well, even now as you tour, you like to take your friends on tour.
Totally.
You want to have fun. You want to, so yeah, just meet people, be a nice person.
That's a big one, eh?
That's a big one. Be a nice person, have manners. Manners go a really long way in this industry. Yeah, that would be the advice that I would give to self-managed artists. Everything that you do, make sure it's true to you and of the highest quality. So, your promo photos, your social media, just make sure everything is really authentic and of the highest quality and true to you.
I love that. I would love to talk to you about Soundcheck Aotearoa. For those people that have no idea what that is and what your role is that you play in that, can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Soundcheck Aotearoa started off in 2019, where a group of like-minded people in the industry got together because realised that the industry needed to be safer and more inclusive and more equitable. And then that kind of developed into a bit of a more organised structure, but more of a working group. And we got funding to consult with the industry. So a whole lot of hui's happened around the country and also with the Māori music community and the Pacific music community as kind of a research project. It was run by the wonderful Rachel Harrison and good Deborah Teal. And they produced a report of their findings from all of those hui's. And the advice was for us not to tackle everything at once, like to tackle one thing at a time. So the initial thing was sort of sexual harassment within the industry was the top topic that came out at the time, and also that research was published at the same time that APRA and Massey University published some research called Amplify Aotearoa, which had a whole lot of stats, like really shocking stats around sexual harassment within the industry. So through some funding from the various industry orgs, we were able to start putting together some professional respect workshops, a whole lot of resources for live as well, because a lot of issues happen within various workspaces, and live is, one of the workspaces, because obviously in our industry, so many people who work in the industry are independent, so don't have corporation or HR or whatever, and your workspace is in the studio or, at a venue or at a festival. And we consulted also with a live industry working group to be able to make sure that everything was tailored correctly. And just recently, Soundcheck Aotearoa has become a charitable trust, and the working group is now the board, and we got funding from MCH, and we've contracted the wonderful Anna Lovies to be the project coordinator. And there's lots of great stuff happening soon, which I won't spill the beans on.
There's two things that I kind of want to talk to about this. Diversity and how important that is within the music industry. But also, if people are listening to this and going, or feeling challenged and going, I've got room to grow in this area, or I'm in a workspace or in a band or in a community or whatever that looks like for them, where I need to grow, I need to learn, I need to step up and actually take some ownership. Where would be some resources that you could point them in, or what would be your advice to those people?
Absolutely attend the professional respect workshops that Soundcheck does. They are put on all around the motu, and also there are some online ones so that people in the regions where can't get to can attend. Go to soundcheckaotearoa.co.nz to check out the upcoming dates. And also on the website, there are just a whole lot of resources.
Yes.
You can also email us if there's specific advice.
Amazing. Yeah, I was looking through the website, the resources in terms of there's so many. If you've got questions or you're experiencing something and you need specific resource around that, amazing. Thank you for doing that.
Oh, there's a team.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Of
amazing.
course, but imperative that we look at this and we make some changes and we go, how can we do better?
Absolutely, and I guess it's from my many years of being in the industry and the various roles that I've had that made it just so important, and also being Polynesian female. It's unusual. It used to be unusual being female manager in the industry, but let alone Polynesian female. And I mean, I'm really grateful that back in the day, when I was first starting out, there was the wonderful Lorraine Barry who was managing, and also at the time Rebecca Coe who was managing Shapeshifter in '86. And we were like this little unit that supported each other, and we would meet up and talk about the challenges we were experiencing, give each other advice. And that's just so important. So that's always been important to me, giving back to the industry or supporting people in the industry. That's why when I was a manager, I was part of the Music Managers Forum for so long, because I just felt it was just really important to have that community and that support.
When I was first starting out, trying to figure out how to release music, I was applying for funding with NZ On Air and did not meet a lot of the criteria, which I know is many people out there. What would be your advice to those people that are like, I don't even meet the criteria, what do I do?
So the criteria, I would say, would be a really good way, a lot of people want to achieve what's in that criteria. Like you want to headline a gig that gets 100, you want to have, more than 1,000 followers on a social media platform. So just continue to work hard in order to be able to hit that criteria. Like there's 30 criteria and you only need to hit 10 for new music single. We do have funds, like our focus rounds don't have any criteria. So New Music Pacifica, for instance, and New Music Pan Asian. So apply for those. But don't be disheartened. I mean, we have that criterion there because we do need to see that artists have got some traction in order for us to be able to, fund. It's taxpayers' money, it's got to be responsibly allocated and just keep on trying. Because even though once you hit that criteria and you get in that round, then it's even hugely competitive. Like we get on average 200 applications for new music single for 35 grants. So there are actually like a whole lot of quality songs that don't get funded just because it's highly competitive, and it breaks our heart. Like we're all music lovers. We all want to see the industry be elevated and artists to realise their dreams and all that, but we've only got a certain budget and there are just, more and more applications in all of our various funding rounds. So, just keep on working hard and achieving those goals. Set your goals, achieve them, and then, you'll get there.
And I think the disappointment is a massive thing, that you experience in any industry. Obviously creative, there's a lot of opportunities that come and go and conversations that come and go. And navigating disappointment is something that you just have to do as an adult. And it sucks.
Absolutely. And like when I was a manager, I would say to my artists, we're going to plan to do this without funding. And if we get funding, then that just takes it from here to there, but we would always plan to not have funding in order to try and mitigate that disappointment and not be so reliant on it, knowing how competitive it is.
And that's, I think, a beautiful piece of advice too for people that are applying, meet the criteria but don't actually get the funding, knowing that their song doesn't suck or what they're doing is bad.
Absolutely.
At all.
Don't let it make you think that it's because, your music sucks, as you said, it's not that at all. And also, it's not, like we have a panel, there's 7 people on the panel, 6 of them are industry people. There's always a commercial radio person, there's someone from student radio, there's other industry, and there's one New Zealand On Air person on that panel. So it's going across 7 ears.
It took me a lot of tries of different songs and reaching the capacity, when I was just trying to figure out, I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't even know if these songs are any good, but I'm just going to give this a go. And just having to navigate the disappointment and going, okay, I'm just going to try again. And
also always come to us for feedback. We're totally, willing to give feedback and have a chat.
Yeah, cool. Last question. For someone that is looking to get into the industry, what would be your one piece of advice to them?
Actually, the Music Commission run an amazing intern program. So every year there's about 35-ish companies, various companies, management companies, record companies, industry bodies that take on an intern for 16 weeks. It's a paid internship. So I would say apply to that because so many people who have done that program have gone on to get jobs within the industry.
Amazing. Thank you so much. You are absolutely amazing. Love that you are in this space and just such an advocate for artists.
Thank you. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Yeah!